So honestly, I know everybody's watching like social media crazy, but I'll be honest with you guys. I stopped watching. I know people are gonna feel like, oh gee, why suddenly have you lost hope? Or why are you talking like that? I lost hope for the IRGC, and I'm not saying this because I'm anti-Semitic or nothing, because things are really getting to me. Okay? We've been watching this show for past 4 or 5 weeks, and we hear Trump is going to do something, and all I see is civilians dying. I mean, from all over the corner, that's all I see. Iranians, Israel is not doing something currently, that's all I see. And I want new news. I want news that is going to bring a change. I'm tired of hearing the same old reports over and over and over again. I want a practical announcement that, hey, Trump did it, you know? But then I review of the previous wars and things like that, even though I try not to listen to my father. I think he's lying about everything. I'm like, nah, it's not going to happen. I'm sure President Trump's going to do it. But then he's like, no, it's going to be the previous runarounds. Watch, they're going to do peace again. Now my reaction's like this, looking at the news report, where everybody's like, oh my God, everybody's just like, how should I put it? In a fantasy mode, like Trump's going to do it. And my reaction on the television, did something happen yet? Did something happen yet? Did something happen yet? So that's why I didn't open up my stage. What am I going to show you guys? It's the same runaround for the past decades over and over again. And now media say that Trump wants to literally just makes peace and get the war over with. I don't agree with that, and I've been seeing news reports say that. And I know there are people listening to me. They may not agree with me, but that's really how I feel, that it is there. And people may not agree to it, but it is there, guys. It is there. Now, you honestly tell me, is that, does this make sense to y'all? I really want to know, does this make sense to y'all at all? That how could you say you're going to butt the regime, everybody's waiting to do those things, and is it really going to get butt? Let me tell you a simple answer. I feel like it's not. And I know people are not happy to hear me that. I feel like it's not. I have this vibe that IRGC is not going to gain almost anything. It's going to be the same runaround as it was for the past decades and decades, even though I don't want it to be. I want to change. The Arabs want to change. The Middle East, the entire Middle East wants to change. But we feel like it's going to be the same thing. Hey, come on in, guys. Come on in. I'll give you 2 minutes. Let me know if you cannot hear me, but I'm pretty sure you can because the sound was working fine. So who believes it's going to be the same runaround? Yes or no? I just want a yes or no answer from you guys. Who feel it's going to be the same runaround in the Middle East? Do you think the regime is really going to change or not? My answer is a no. Come on in, guys. Hello, Chan. Nice to see you all. So we are making a debate today. Who believes the regime is really going to fall? I want you to give me a yes or no answer. Do you really believe that America can make it fall? Static in the background. Oh, that is because I'm by the window and people are working over here. No matter where I sit, you're going to hear that sound because it's an apartment. So, yeah, I'm in my apartment. And the apartment's well short, not really big. Thank you. I just made it in a hurry. So, subscribers, love y'all. Let's ready to gamble. Who believes that the regime is going to fall? I want a yes or no answer. Be honest with me. It doesn't really matter who you got. Alright, do you really believe that it's going to fall? And like seriously, I feel like no, it's the same. It's the same. What are we going to do today? Today, I want to catch up. I want to catch up with you guys and tell you that who believes that the social media is giving you a runaround. That's why I haven't opened up my stage. What am I going to show you on my stage? It's the same old stuff, same old news, same old different day, different thing. It's the same stuff on the media. Who believes that based on what President Trump is doing, is there really going to be a change? That's the topic today. And I want my subscribers to answer. Do you really believe that something's going to change? I want your honest opinion because I know people are desperate. People are waking up to, let's get a move on. Let's get a move, please. Same, but is it really? That's my question. That's the trivia stream today. Who believes that something really is going to change? I want a true answer from all my subscribers. Do you really believe that we're going to go through a change? Because everybody wants this change, but it's the same reports over and over and over again. What am I going to show you on stage? It's the same report. If you want to learn about other countries, okay, I can show you something regarding other countries and their culture, but it's the same runaround reports. One day it's peace, we're fighting again. One day it's peace, we're fighting again. What am I supposed to show you guys? It's the same runaround. That's why I made this stream today. That who feel that something is going to change. That's my biggest question to my subscribers. I feel like we're going to be in the same runaround as the previous years. That's my biggest gamble. I don't see anything coming. I'm sad. We all wanted something to say, but I honestly don't see anything coming. I'm hoping it comes if President Trump says that I'm ready to do it with any circumstances, but I honestly don't see it. I lost hope, and I don't, because if that happens, then everybody died for a world. Sounds like nothing, but yeah. Based on what I'm seeing, that Iran's ready to make a peace deal. What peace deal, dude? No, that's like saying everybody died for nothing. That's not what people want. But at the same time, in America's side, they're like, oh, we don't want a war anymore. So that's why I made this stream today. Who thinks what's gonna happen? What do you think the conclusion is gonna be? I really want to know from you guys. Do you think we're going to be in the same runaround from the times of Bill Clinton, Bush, and all these other American presidents? Yeah, you will change soon. Me, I want to change so we can move on with our lives. I've been saying this forever, but I'm not an American politician to make the rules. I mean, hey, I said this to one of my Christian friends too. In the end, he's the guy in charge. Whatever he decides, we're all just going to follow it. That's all we can do. And we've never said anything against him, nothing at all. But like right now, based on all this, we're in 2026, guys, and we're about to enter 2027 in the next few years. I want to ask my subscribers that, do you think all that has happened, where's the result? So you're basically telling me we killed civilians for nothing. Americans died, Iranians died in hope, and Israelis, from October 7th. So what's the conclusion? What's the true result? Don't you guys want a real result from all this? And I don't see one. That's my biggest debate. That's why, like, I know content creators publish, like, oh, this happened today, or people like Goldie Gamari, the Iranian, she's like, oh, this is happening in Iran today. I stopped watching that. I'm waiting for somebody to really get down there and say, okay, I'm ready to change your regime. I'm ready to do it. Nothing can stop me. I know France has a history somewhere regarding that. I forgot what it was. Somebody told me that. But we're not friends. But another direction, and I want to lose this debate. I hope I'm wrong, because I want to be wrong. I don't want to be right all the time. I want to be wrong. And I want to be wrong this time. That when some of my Indian friends say that, oh, Trump is going to support the regime, he never went against the military, he supports the Pakistan army, well, I don't want that. I want to be wrong. I hope Trump say that, hey, I'm ready to step in there and you need to do your regime change anyway, right? But that's not what I'm seeing, guys. So like, I asked my subscribers, what should I think? Then it's going to be the same time as President Clinton, same time as President Bush, the story with Dummy Rock, Obama, and all these other presidents that we had, and the same Middle East affairs that we had for the past decades. That's not the answer I'm hoping. No, because then we wasted our stuff for nothing. Nothing. Rather it's that end or that end. We basically did shit for nothing. And I fear that deeply. I fear that deeply, big time, because based on what I'm seeing, there's a slight possibility, yes, even though Israelis feel like, no, Trump's going to do it. But I've been monitoring some Israeli Jews, too, on Twitter platform, that they've been saying, like, oh, President Trump, stop playing games, just do it. And remember what I said? That people's behavior comes from based on result of what they saw. Social media is a response of people's behavior based on what they're seeing. It's not real life, it's just a sample. It's sample of what people are seeing. So they respond to social media based on what they're seeing. It's not real life. Real life, we walk every day, eat every day, do whatever we want every day. But social media comes from based on the stuff you see. As a result, you give a response. Like, okay. And that response leaves your behavior attraction. Like, hey, this is what I saw. and this is what I don't like. And I see it. I see it. It's making me speechless. It's making me very cautious. And it's making me to the point that are we really going to get somewhere? That's scary if we don't, because then we are going to make the same runaround mistakes that we did with all other presidents. You know? And I don't think anybody want that. So what are your thoughts? Let's hear subscribers. I want to type a yes or no. Who believes that are we going to go to the same runaround, or are we going to go through a change? Yes or no? Yes if you believe in the change, or no if you believe in the runaround. Let's see what you guys think. Give your best thoughts. Yes or no? No if you believe we're going to go through the same runaround. Yes if you believe in a change. Do you guys? Because I don't see it. And you know, this is bad. I mean, because for example, let's say 10 years later, we have another incident in the Middle East. And I feel even though American politicians are going through their own problems, but where are we going to stand in the next 10 years? What are we going to be linked to it? Are we not going to be linked to it? Are we going to face some problems? But the only cure to the Middle East is that you need to make a change based on all of the years of the previous mistakes. You do not want to rewind those previous mistakes. And that's what I say as someone as an American. Yes, I believe in American safety. I do believe in American safety, but it disturbs me when my Iranian friends say, oh, Trump didn't do anything. They say as Iranian Americans, and I am nobody to tell them why. But as an American monitoring the result, I fear it. I fear it. I fear it. I see it. I see it with my own eyes that we're about to go in a runaround again. And that runaround is not good for us because we're playing games. We're playing games over there. We're playing games over there. We're playing games over there, even though some people may not agree with me. That's fine. In fact, to Hexar, who came on my podcast, there's a lot of things I did agree with him, but this time I have a slight feeling I am not going to agree with him based on what I'm seeing. He feels that the political parties, that's just child's play, and we are going to do something. Okay. It's a sunny morning. Everybody's living their ordinary life. Well, the Iranians are still crying for help. Did something happen? I don't see anything. In fact, if you monitor social media now, 90% of the comments towards Iranians are shutting down. That's not a good sign. Like, once upon a time, they had high attention from the globe. Like, help us, help us. And there were like many people writing that may the Iranians be free soon. Now when you look at social media and their platforms and things like that, away from their YouTube content, like Twitter and stuff, their comments are down to like 10 comments a day, 4 comments a day. Highest device is Iranian content people who fight for Iranian freedom. It's like nobody's giving them a lift. That should give people a sign, like why? Because of what we're doing. We're not able to make up our minds that do we want to lift up the regime or not, and we need to make an official one. Now some people are ready to do it. Some people in the American Party are not ready to do it. And that's not good for us, because in the end, if we do that, we are going to be back to base one where we started from Bush, from Clinton, from Obama, and whatever, President Trump later, and here we are from Biden administration, who done the worst. So you ask yourself, what exactly are we doing, and what did we gain any result? And I don't see one. I really don't. I'm hoping we do. I'm not saying that we don't see one. We all want one. But based on the stuff that we're doing and the choices that we are making, I don't see one. And that's concerning. That's very concerning. Because one thing my father said, and I have a difficult time believing him, and some Israelis told me too, some strongest of strongest politicians too. I know Sharon Brown told me, she's a big encouragement. She told me too. Back in the day when Reza Pahlavi's father was in charge, there were problems then too, and now his son wants to rule Iran, and some of the people are still not ready to give the guy a seat, even though he's a West ally, but some not ready. So you think for a minute, what is the conclusion, man? And then you see all these other political leaders coming, going, like, oh, we're going to run Iran that way. So you think for a minute, what is the ending? And day by day I've seen, and that's just one history. And remember, the topic was how history is going to change, okay? It is changing, but nobody noticed it changing. Let me give you one example. In today's society, like not a lot of the Americans, like I asked Miss Bishop, who's on my stream today, who's in the chat, not a lot of the people know that where you are going and who you are helping, they hold a separate pagan religion. They're not Christians. They're Zoroastrians, days of the Buddhists, Hindus, and all those other religions, right? That also has an impact on people. That also has an impact on people today because they feel like, for example, when I speak to my Christian friends, they feel like they're being used. And I'm like, how's that? They're like, well, if we free the Iranians, the official religion should be Christianity. But then we're back to base one again, aren't we? From pagan religions in Iran days to current Abrahamic religions. That's going to have an impact on people. Watch what I tell you. People don't believe me yet, but it is because Christians are going to be finding that no, we want to remain Christians. If you don't believe in those religions, it's either you accept a Christian or whatever. Same for Muslims today. It's chaotic, but yes. Another debate I made is that how much do people want to bet, even though some people don't believe, but it's there. It's there. Some people are saying what India is evolving like. Yes, it's clean. It has its days, like some of the days Indian government, it may not be friendly to Kashmiri people, but that's not our problem. I said that there's a slight possibility one of these religions are going to expand in India. And I told this to my friend directly from India until he accepted it. He told me in India there's a lot of places that Christians are expanding. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Does that leave a mark? Of course it leaves a mark. I keep saying it. History is evolving. People just don't see it yet. History is becoming that people are not told in books. People are not educated in books. It's a new everything. New everything. And I made a gamble with him. How much do you want to bet that India is going to become more Christian in the next few years? And he was speechless, even though he wanted to say something about it, but he was speechless because it's true, Christians are expanding in India. That goes back to base one again, Buddhist and Hindus religion, and is it going to be one of these religions? Another gamble I made with my friend Hushena is that even though she is terrified, I never pictured, even though we have healthy talks, we talk twice a month maybe, and I asked her, even though it's difficult to have like historical debate with Jews, to actually believe a Muslim, right? But she actually did believe. I'm like, do you believe that the Jewish history is going to be the same in the next few years? Based on what you're seeing, based on people's behavior, based on people's responses? And she's like, I don't know. I don't know what history is going to bring for Jews in the next few years. All the stuff has given the message. Every fight has happened, whether you want to believe a hadith, you want to believe the Bible, you want to believe the Quran, you want to believe the Torah. All those messages are already paid. It's deliberate. It's happening. People just don't see it in that form yet, but it's already happening. Now, what is the new history going to be? One thing we accepted, it took us a little time. I'm not going to lie, it took us a lot of time. A lot of time, because my friend, who's a Christian who buys coffee every day from Starbucks, he's the one who actually told me. And I'm like, why are you saying that as an American? Why are you saying that as an American? You're a Christian. That history changes every few years. He's like, I'm ready for it. It always does. It's been like that after 20 or 30 years, history evolves into something else. I'm like, you honestly believe that as a Christian? You're the first Christian I've seen who does not seem all terrified and who seem prepared and who seem like this is what it's going to be. It's like, it's always like that. And I'm like, you're the first Christian I've seen so prepared. But what are the side effects of teaching? I'll tell you what. New ways of technology, new ways of education. And another debate I've made is that how much people feel that school is not going to be school. I made that debate. School's not going to be school anymore. It's going to be technology sources of history, AI, computers are not going to be as powerful as they are. So imagine all this evolvement, technology, computers, sources, time period changes, atmosphere changes, all these things are going to be impacted. you're going to have a new vision, new way of looking, new way of thinking, versus what they're told for the past almost 60, 70 years, because I see it. Yesterday I was watching a podcast, right, and I actually gave this to one of my friends. I asked him that, do you honestly believe that things are going to, based on how you study stuff, it's going to be the same? And he's like, well, sort of. I'm like, well, would you believe me if I show you a podcast that whole bunch of people, and I don't know who this guy is on YouTube. I'm afraid to post it because I don't want to sound anti-Semitic to nobody, but when I watched this, it freaked me out. It gave me a weird vibe watching it. They were talking about, on a mic, opening Twitter and making the whole globe see about like the Christian's Bible, political version of Zionism in America, and my eyes were just like, what is that? What is that? Like, what the hell is that? And obviously I can't say anything because I'm a Muslim, but just seeing that as a Muslim, that people are actually talking about this stuff on podcasts about the Bible and political leaders and what make the globe sound loud and proud on speakers where YouTube viewers can listen to it, saying stuff, oh, Zionism wasn't this, Zionism wasn't that. That should give people a hint how much stuff is changing. Sources saying something else from what you are told. And that freaked me out. Okay, I've said it. I'm not a Jew, but that freaked me out. How are people getting this information, making shows about it, showing public things about it? Oh, Grog says this about Zionism, the Bible was this, and it says nothing about Zionism. I'm not trying to insult it. I'm showing you the differences, how stuff is technology working now. And it freaked me out when it wasn't even about me. It was about Israel and the Jews and things like that. And people talk, obviously a Christian is going to talk about the Bible, not a Muslim. But yes, so this should let people know. This should give people a hint that, look, stuff is changing, and the more and more change, something is going to be outnumbered. And there's nothing you can do about it to stop it, which is the scary part. Once upon a time, a wise friend once told me that do not throw away your books. Whatever you do, you can throw away the toys, you can throw away your clothes, but do not throw away the books. And I'm like, why? Why shouldn't I throw away my books? And she's like, you never know when those books are going to come useful to you. Today, I'm going crazy looking for history books from like 1800s, 1700s to know what exactly happened in the middle versus the books that are being published today. I feel in the next generation, Holocaust is not going to be an important topic. I see people literally saying we don't want to learn that anymore. That's scary. Literally people saying that we don't want to learn that anymore. Whatever it is. It's old, it's whatever it's on. We don't want to hear about it. And new stuff is being told into college, things related to like Arabs, Syria, people. I asked my college student, can you show me what's being told to you in your college? And he showed me a book. It literally says about Arabs, Syria, and things like that, even though some people believe like, oh, Qatar's funding it, and when you work for Israelis, people are like, oh, Jews are paying you for it. To be historically honest, at this point, I don't know what's happening. Because if America's ready to make peace with the IRGC, what can be the biggest proof? It just shows that America is, well, I don't want to degrade it. I'm not trying to degrade it. I'm an American myself, but America chooses based on what is suitable for America. That's the best answer I can give, even though it's not the best thing. I'm saying it as a Muslim. It's not exactly the best thing, but in the end, as an American Muslim, I'm supposed to do well what my leader says and what the leaders decide. It may not be the healthiest choice, just like when you get treatment or you get plastic surgery. Your surgery doesn't go super great, but you take it anyway, right? Or when you have to go for treatment or operation in a hospital, some people sign papers like, okay, your surgery is not going to go super great. Do you agree to it? Same concept. Okay, whatever, sir, we agree to it. Whatever, it's a good or bad decision, we agree to it. All this, I feel it. One thing my dad was telling me the other day, and I had a serious debate with him, like, what are you talking about? I never used to take my dad seriously in anything because I realized that I'm a blunt American. Born here, I never used to take anything in like politics, nothing. But one thing he told me, and some Americans did too, but I don't talk about that stuff. Even Indians told me this stuff, that it's going to be the same ending, that America is not going to knock down that regime. It's going to either be peace or, well, just do what it does. And I'm like, are you sure about that? And they're like, yeah, who are we to knock down that regime? I'm like, no, come on, dude. Don't talk like that. The Arabs want it. The South Asian people want it. Everybody wants it. There's nobody who doesn't want that regime dead. We all want that regime dead. It's the cost to, it's the headmaster that can refill everything. It's the headmaster that can refill all the militant organizations. I believe, thank you, Chan Brown. You're my biggest inspiration. You've been training me since day one before I even started any of this. You're the biggest inspiration. I believe a little bit of both. My debate here as an American, what success are we actually making? All we're doing is seeing day by day civilians dying in Iran. The Middle East hasn't changed too much. If we believe in a real change, we need to first stick to our words. If we don't stick to our words, then what's the point? And sometimes, I say this with pride, sometimes what people say outside, it may seem effective at first. It may seem like the meanest thing in the world. I've said I used to feel the same way. I used to get mad, I used to get angry, and I used to think people are being like, anti-American or anti-this, and you just hate America, right? But sometimes people leave a little bit pointers, and people don't seem to understand it until much later. I'm not anti-American. I'm always going to live and die like an American, but when it comes to facing people's questions, I have to think wisely, right? As an American Muslim, like, how am I going to face it with the Jews? How am I going to face it with the Christians? How am I going to face it with the Hindus? Based on the information I'm getting, what answer am I going to give? And sometimes the sources that people give, they hit you in the head much later. Why did they tell you those things? I'm telling you. I can give you that podcast, you guys, right now if you guys want to see it. It's a really horrific podcast. I didn't give it to a Jew because I didn't want Jews to feel hurt and feel like I'm being anti-Semitic, but that podcast is a sign. I call it a sign. If people are exposing so much information now from what they are never told versus what the political parties decide, imagine what tomorrow is going to be. I said it. Imagine what tomorrow is going to be. You're openly talking about biblical narratives and exposing it on YouTube. You're talking about Zionism in the political format, how it was taught. I'm not the one to talk about it, but there is a podcast about that. I'm telling you, to all the Jewish community on my channel, there is a podcast. I was shocked to listen to it. It freaked me out. What I saw and how people are openly showing Grok, ChatGPT, and what the heck it's saying, that's something to be worried about. Like, oh my God, it's saying things like, oh, Zionism wasn't like this, Zionism wasn't like that, Bible was this, Bible was that. That, if I was a Christian, and as someone Jewish and a Christian was talking about that, I'd be scared. I'd be scared that what new information is coming versus 1800s, 1900s, what from stuff you studied from school till now. I'd be concerned. Like, if this information is like that, what new history information is going to be published in the next few years? And based on that, people evolve. People get new minds. People get new thinking. That's concerning. I've seen a friend who was Jewish and who went into a school. People did not want to lift him up. They're like, you're a baby killer. You love to kill children. Stay away from me. Me, as a Muslim, just walking in my child, who was a minor autistic, right? And I was told in a hospital that, oh, where do you idiots come from, this, that, but I was raised not to say anything back, so I'm like, okay, no problem, bye, sir, whatever, okay, good. Even though somebody asked me, like, why didn't you say anything back? I'm like, what am I going to gain? Okay, he was rude to me, what am I going to gain? Cursing at the guy, nothing. It's just going to turn into a civil. This stuff is very concerning. History is evolving all over the globe. People just don't sense it yet, but it's there. Once upon a time, people have also said that religion wars are going to rise, even though Christians say this is the Antichrist. Old religions, like I have that common saying, like Indians believe that Christianity and Islam need to be destroyed because it's an Abrahamic religion. And I have that common saying somewhere, and that's concerning. I'm not saying I'm not God that I'm going to say it's going to happen, but that's just a sign of what early belief system was like, the people of paganism, and how people want to write. It's all about interpretation too. Okay? People think it's not. Trust me, it is. So when people are like, oh, Moroccans were Bourbons, you're right, they were Bourbons. Bourbons are pagans. Moroccan was Christian first. Without the invasion of Christianity, where would Christians come from? Right? Without the invasion of Christianity, where would Christians come from? How would Christians evolve? How would Christians take birth? Even though my dad debated me the most unusual thing, he's like, oh no, but Muslim kingdoms were here before even Islam arrived. And that apparently there's 5-6 sources who say those things. That before the religion Islam arrived, Muslim kingdoms and Muslims were there. And here's another interesting thing. If you're a Christian on my channel, I don't know much about Coptics, okay? I realized that Coptics, I have a speech coming up with Michael, the Coptic Christian. The Coptic was an ethnic group, right? I'm doing a platform with him in the network. And I didn't know much about Coptics. I only heard the word. I didn't know their history, that there's such thing as a Coptic and Coptic Christians or Coptic Muslims. I didn't know any of that. And I'm just like, how'd you figure it? And what made you turn away from the Palestinian conflict when you found out you were Coptic? He's like, there was a lot of things I need to review about myself, a lot of things I had to reconsider about myself. And he's like telling me that a lot of people didn't get it. First, I was a pro-Palestinian supporter, thinking I'm wherever I come from, things that. But when he figured out what was Coptic, yeah, that changes my. So there's a lot of ideology and teachings that are not told. Call me crazy on this, but it's true. A lot of things are not told to you. Now, if American Christians, like I know American Christians have asked me, Michael, what the heck is a Coptic? What's the Coptic background? It's new for me too, because there's such thing as Coptic Muslims. There's that too. And I didn't know. Now, if you put the Bible in front of you, like, oh, like Hagar was some people say she was Arab, and smart people like this bishop say she was Egyptian. That's where Coptic history would come in. Like, who the heck were the Coptics? That would connect, because they were Egyptians, right? So you see how some of the history and education is not told. It is not told, but it's interpreted in different formats. And it's completely crazy, but yes. People have never been told about the Bourbon history, which comes from Morocco. Coptics, and who is someone Hindu, some people know some of it. But all this stuff is really important to today. Because the deeper the wars go, and whose history comes from there, and what narrative you are connected to, all this stuff matters. People didn't believe me at first until they did a little bit of digging for themselves. It's like I told my Iranian friend. He didn't believe me at first. I'm like, okay, you're Iranian. I get it. You're Mexican. I get it. Like, he's like, but Zoroastrian's also my religion. I'm like, no. Zoroastrian was your religion, but as a Christian, you're either a Christian, well, you're that. And you didn't know that. There's a lot of people who don't know these things. So imagine, if history is not told to you today, if I were to open up my stage tomorrow, what am I going to show you guys? We're still waiting for the result. I know content creators are creating all these videos, daily basis for things like that. I don't do those things on my channel. I show you practical things like, hey, this was a time period, existed, how did stuff evolve? That's what my channel, personal views and conversations about I have on my channel. But right now, in American point of view, nothing specific is happening. Nothing. What am I going to say to people? What am I going to show? There's nothing. If the day that regime changes in America is very serious for it, that's the day I'm going to put up my stage again. If you want to study about early history and things like that, I can show you one or two documents in a brief of every time. But it's amazing how stuff is so untold. And that's really concerning for people to face history tomorrow. It is. It's either open up your minds, look into new things, or face a blind chapter. That's how I see it. Tomorrow is a blind chapter for everyone. It really doesn't matter anymore if you're a Christian, because not every single Christian agrees with each other. Not every single Christian accepts each other. Same for the Muslim world. Some people are still learning their identities, just like I told you about the Coptics. Not many people know about the Coptics. Many people don't even know who they are. Technically, they're Egyptians, but not many people know about them. I did a stream long back on my channel about the Gypsies. People probably don't even remember who Gypsies were today. Hunchback of Notre Dame about Gypsies. People don't remember who they are today. Well, all this stuff is going to ring a bell in your future tomorrow. And if people don't study, look into it, there are going to be consequences tomorrow what to answer. And that's what I deal with today. When people ask me questions like, oh, didn't you know this? But how did you know that information? Or where'd you get this information from? Time, middle, wars, what caused the war? Well, how did nationalism stand? All this stuff connected together, and then figure out the pieces, what sticks, how stuff evolved. People don't like to do it like that because it's a lot of work, but that's technically that is going to help people if they do it like that. If they give their personal visions on narratives, oh, it's that religion, or that religion, or they did it. But okay, I'll put that as an example. If people don't look at it like that, it takes some time to really realize it, but technically that is what it is. So all the militant nationalists, places like Iraq, Libya, Syria, Iran currently, Pakistan are failures because of militant nationalists. But once upon a time, remember Nazi Germany? Hitler regime, military equipment. It became Germany and healthier much later, even though Germany is a Christian country. But it became better later. And all these things count because people need to understand the difference between religious nationalism and freedom. People have that confused. Freedom means when people let you be the way you want to be. I'll give an example. Not many, and my friend, I talk to her, I tell her, do you honestly believe that some people take American Christians seriously, thinking they're not real Christians based on how they live their culture, how they practice, what? That's the same way in the Muslim world too. Same. Some people think, oh, you're not a real Muslim, or how you live like that, and things like that. Some people support Iran, some people support the Arabs because of culture, views, visions, everything. But does that mean whose religion is superior? No. No. Look at Russia as a Christian country. It finds Iran superior. Why? Because once upon a time, Russia has done similar things to its people when it's a Christian country. Right? And how all this stuff comes from nationalist movements and how you control the regime. You can use religion as a weapon, but it has nothing to do with freedom. Freedom a country gives you. For example, today Moroccan has given freedom, UAE has given freedom, and what other country I would say has granted freedom? Whether Albania was not like that. Albania has given Jews and Christian freedoms for years. There's many countries like that who grant freedom, that hey, you're free to practice religion and you're free to be who you want to be. Just be careful with stuff. Every country tells you that. Iraq used to be like that from the days of Faisal, but it didn't. Iraq's ending didn't go that way when Faisal died. It became nationalist movements, corrupt. Everything did. Pakistan, a little portion was like that, but it became the same way. British had his own problems when British was a Christian empire. British has his own problems and things like that. If you sit into spaces and listen to Christians talk about themselves and monitor what they talk about, who are my friends too, you will understand. So there's a difference between freedom and nationalism. And I think sometimes my Jewish friends have a difficult time understanding that. One of them didn't. After she figured that out, we had many conversations together. She was Jewish. It took her a while to figure that out because Nationalists do not let you grant freedom. Remember the KKK, the Christian KKK. That's a nationalist. KKK nationalist. You have to bow to Jesus or whatever. Same for the Islamists and the military nationalists. That in the name of Allahu Akbar, you need to be a Muslim. Nazi Germany. Remember that Hitler regime that Jews had to become Christians or they could not survive. These are all nationalists. Nationalists do not grant you freedom. They're against freedom. And Russia was like that too at one point. It was against freedom. It didn't believe in freedom. It didn't believe in anything. Nothing. So I say today to people that don't say anything until you know the difference between nationalism movement versus freedom. They're two separate things, and nations have used them in multiple different ways. These two things in history as of today and to know your tomorrow are so important. And I'll land my plane there. If you know what the nationalism is, how religion nationalism is used versus freedom, you will understand tomorrow. If you don't, may God protect you tomorrow, because history is not going to be the same as people feel. It's evolving. New textbook is coming out. New stuff is being told that never was taught to you in the 1960s, the 1800s, the 1700s. That I've debated that where are all of America's textbooks on this? We need it now before it's too late. It's erasing. It's fading. New stuff is coming. What's not the truth is becoming the truth. And people are making podcasts about it. People are posting stuff of ChatGPT, Grok, and reading it out loud in front of the media, where everybody can see it. Google, where everybody can see it. Everything. Now how are you supposed to convince people who what is what? What is what? And that's evolving people with a new brain, new vision, new views, that you do not know what their vision is going to tell them tomorrow for you. And I'll land my plane there, and I hope people understand, because this shit is real. History is not going to be what it is as you're told. And the day that regime falls, it's going to be a new beginning, and I don't know when that is. Everybody's waiting for a new beginning. Take care, you all, and I hope you all understand. I would open up my stage tomorrow and show you something, but that's not the case. It isn't. I'm still waiting for a real result. Till then, pray for Afghan women, because they've been prison too. And I fear that I can show you maybe in the next stream a little bit about Afghanistan. Once upon a time, Afghan women had a future. They were doctors, they were everything. And suddenly their life changed from the Taliban takeover. Now they're prisoned. They're not allowed to use cell phones. They're not allowed to use computers. They're not allowed to work. They're not allowed to go anywhere. And their children are being sold out. That's back to the early days. Russia did at one point. Iran started doing it in 1979. It's freedom, not religion. Take away freedom. Freedom. When people take away your freedom, you can't do shit. Half of this stuff is not even in the religion itself. It's just about control and power. When people take away your freedom, that means no rights for you, period. And if you're anybody different from the narrative, you get killed. That's what Nazi Germany was. That's what Russia was at one point, and same for the militant nationalists in the Muslim world. When people take away your rights, there's just no excuses. It's gone. That's how it works. So take care, y'all, till the next stream. Hopefully we hear something good, and then I think I'll open up my stage next week, and let's see what we see. And I'm waiting for big news. Take care, y'all.